Age ain't nothing but a number, though a dollar ain't nothing but a thing. This loving I have for you, too, it'll never change. My change. Okay, what's going on YouTube? Is age really ain't nothing but a number? That's the question of the day. Okay, so as you all know, I recently finished my 4-week challenge. Yay! And of course, I'm continuing the routine and all of that stuff. So, the carrot at the end of my stick of my 4-week challenge is allowing myself to re enter the dating world. And I have. As of 2 weeks, I've been 2 weeks that I've re entered the dating world, and I've gone on 2 whole dates. Wow! And the first date doesn't have that much to do with the age ain't nothing but a number topic, but I'll briefly just tell you all about this aspect of it. Gorgeous guy, gorgeous. Intelligent guy, very intelligent as well. And we had some great conversation topics with that. But I don't think he's that into me. I don't think he's going to call me much. Not really. You know, we had our reasons and our issues, but I don't think he's that into me. As K. Michelle said, he's just not that into you. Quit chasing and face the truth. This ain't meant to discourage. Don't keep giving him your heart. You know? So I don't think I'm going to keep giving him my heart. And because I have to accept that he's just not that into me. But it is what it is. So anyway, on to yesterday's date, where the age ain't nothing but a number situation came up. I went on this date with this dude that I met on the bus. It was cool, you know? And he's a handsome fella. I was going to say young fella, but not really, considering the whole topic of this video. But the first part of the date, the first part of the official date, not the meeting on the bus, but the official, let's hang out today. Yes, what's happened yesterday. That part was cool, but then we got to the point about age, and I was just asking sort of randomly, just because, you know, I just wanted to know the age. But then he wouldn't give the age, and it kind of became a lengthy discussion. And he brought up some good points, and I brought up some good points as well. Of course, ultimately, I didn't agree with his points, but I do think he made his points well. And as it relates to the age thing, he was like, so as everybody on YouTube knows who watches my videos, I am an 83 baby. I share that like constantly. There ain't no shame in my game. I know that I'm 31 years old, and as a person who's 31 years old, I know that there are a number of people coming up now that are just like, would classify me as an old head. And that's fine with me because I have my age minimums also, you know? Anyway, he was like, I don't want to share my age because I feel as though it's better to get to know somebody, and then after you get to know them and get to know all of these things about them, you'll be able to guess their age. And it'll be like, ding, you've got it. But to me, that was an interesting perspective to have, and I understand, but I didn't agree with it because, in my opinion, I think it's important to know someone's, at least for me and people like me. And maybe I'm being presumptuous in saying people like me because maybe I'm the only one who thinks like this. But the way that I see it is, I think it's important to know someone's age when getting to know them, at least from my perspective, because what it does is it allows you to sort of understand their frame of reference a little bit better, understand where they're coming from a little bit better, understand how they think a little bit better, why they think the way that they think a little bit better. But I'm one of the people who wants to know that. And it's also because I'm very into music. So for me, it's like, I want to know how old you were when SWV came out with their debut album in 1992. I want to know how old you were because that helps me understand, is that music that you were too old for to understand? Is that music you were too young for to understand? I want to know where you were when Brandy came out with Never Say Never in 1998. Was that something you were too old for? Is that something you were too young for? I want to know how old you were when Whitney Houston came out with Whitney Houston, her debut album in 1985. I'm a Whitney Houston stan, and I remember being a baby and loving her song, How Will I Know? And, I was gay way back then. That was a gay club hit. But, I remember being a baby and loving her song, How Will I Know? And growing up and in kindergarten running around the house singing, How Will I Know? But I was a baby when that came out. So it's a different perspective, point of view, compared to somebody who might have been, say, in their early 20s when How Will I Know came out. Because you were able to enjoy that song in the club and understand what it's like to hear that song in the club. I was a baby when that song came out. I think it's important to know that stuff because, again, music is big to me, and I like to know that because that helps me get an idea of how you think about things, what you think about artists. Are you the type of person who grew up and came of age in the 70s, so late 80s and 90s music and all of that stuff means nothing to you because you think it's all trash, while in my point of view, as an 80s baby, 83, I love 90s music, and I think 90s music is like some of the best music. But I do think it started to kind of fall off after the turn of the century. But there are some younger people, like some people born in like 92 and stuff like that, who would be like, man, you're wrong. Like, Ashanti was singing her butt off. I loved Ashanti. But there are a lot of other people who is just like, Anyway, whatever. But all of that to say, it helps you understand someone's mental frame of reference as it comes to things. Like people are always like, do you know where you were? Everybody knows where they were when so-and-so was shot. And everybody knows where they were when they got the O.J. Simpson verdict. I know and that's another good point. I know exactly where I was when I got the O.J. Simpson verdict. I was going to Catholic school in upstate New York. I was in what, seventh grade? I was in seventh grade when that news came out. So I think it makes a difference because somebody who might have been grown at that time would have a different perspective than somebody who was a little kid. So anyway, all of that to say, I think that age is important, and I think it is important to know someone's age when getting to know them. And again, maybe it's just me, and maybe all of this stuff is like just pop culture stuff, and it's just random stuff that shouldn't really matter, but it matters to me. And since it matters to me, that means if you're dealing with me, it matters. But that's just my opinion on the topic. What do y'all think, YouTube? I understand both viewpoints, but I just don't agree. I feel as though it's important to know somebody's age. What do y'all think? Talk to y'all later, YouTube. Peace. Be blessed.